So apparently the Detroit Pistons are in the market for another big man. Jake Weinbach tweeted out that the Detroit Pistons should express interest in Jarett Allen. Jarett Allen. And I'm a little tempted. Because Jarett Allen, he is a good defensive player. Not good enough to win the Defensive Player of the Year award, but good enough to where, he might make a few All-NBA defensive teams, maybe a couple here and there in his career. He is a one-time All-Star. He's only I think he's 24 years old. And I believe in Jalen Duren so much that I'd be willing to pass, but the temptation is there. But if the Pistons were to do it, I don't know how Jalen Duren and Jarett Allen fit together. I think it would all be dependent on Duren taking a step offensively and defensively. But what are your thoughts to this? I guess we can call it a rumor or just this tweet.
With Cleveland, I wouldn't understand why they would trade Jarett Allen with this rumor. Unless I think the return on what they wanted was a sharpshooter and draft compensation. So if the Pistons wanted to get involved in this, we'll just play devil's advocate. You're probably saying goodbye to Bojan and giving them a draft pick. Is that worth it? No, it's not. You have a 19-year-old center that was third in the NBA in offensive rebounds. Let me repeat that. He was third in offensive rebounds behind Mitchell Robinson and Clint Capella. He almost averaged 3.5 offensive rebounds per game. We haven't even seen what Jalen Duren is capable of under Monty Williams. I wouldn't even entertain a deal trying to trade for another center because I think you have a franchise center in Jalen Duren. I think you have a center that you can build around. I don't really think you need to trade for a 25-year-old center that is established as a defensive player, and I do think he could win Defensive Player of the Year. I do. I think if Rudy Gobert can win Defensive Player of the Year, Jarett Allen could win it. I really do. He's a good defensive player. He's the reason why Cleveland is such a good defensive team. He's a defensive anchor on that team. I just wanted to kind of tell you I believe he could win Defensive Player of the Year, but in terms of trading for him, I'm not going to give up a Bojan or anything like that, plus a draft pick for him. I just don't really see how that makes sense for Detroit, unless they're trying to win now.
But has Jalen Duren showed you enough defensively already where you're like, okay, he can be a legit anchor on defense for this team going forward? Has he shown you enough already defensively?
No, but he's still on a rookie deal.
Yeah,
Jarett Allen's not.
Sure, that's fair.
Jarett Allen's not. But I think the potential is there for him to be a defensive anchor. If he can stay out of foul trouble, he could easily block a shot and a half to 2 a game. The potential's there. The ceiling's there. I think he can get there. I think he could easily be a 20 and 10 guy all day.
Offensively, I'm not worried about Duren. I'm not worried about him at all offensively. I think he'll be a double-double guy for sure. Maybe he might even take a leap where he's averaging almost 15 points per game this year. It wouldn't surprise me at all, especially with Cade coming back. But it's defensively. That's the stuff I'm more concerned with because we need a defensive anchor. We need a guy out there communicating. We need someone to protect the rim. You need defense. Despite what Kevin Durant said, you're right. It is all about scoring, and you need to score more than the other team, but you need to get stops as well. And you're going to need Duren to take a huge leap. And I just don't know if he has shown us enough defensively yet. He's shown flashes, but he's often compared to Bam Adebayo. And I don't think that level of defense is just there yet with Jalen Duren. I'm not saying shop him. I'm saying, if you had an opportunity to get a Jarett Allen and have him on the team for 2 years while you transition from a losing team to a winning team, it's not a bad idea. I think, again, I just don't know the fit with them together. But I do think that if Jalen Duren can be more disciplined defensively, he has the footwork and the athleticism and the lateral quickness to defend fours and make things uncomfortable for guys on the perimeter. I just don't know if there'd be enough spacing between those two guys offensively.
Yeah, I'm not worried about him at all. I know he could be a lockdown defender. If you watched him in college at all, you know that the tools are there. It's just unlocking that potential. I have no doubt in my mind that he will be a defensive anchor. I just don't. I think the biggest reason why Troy traded up for him is because he saw something in him. The reason why he did make that trade is he wanted a center that he could build around. I think he knew Isaiah Stewart wasn't a center. He knew that he was an undersized four or undersized center, and he wanted to put him at the four. I think that was a part of his plan long term. I think the fan base would absolutely hate trading a guy that had some promise, had some potential, and then you go see him just absolutely carve it up for another team. And you have the fans saying, another Middleton, another Dinwiddie situation. You don't want that again. Your questions about can he be, a defensive player? Can he lock down players? We don't know yet because we haven't seen a lot of him at the NBA level. But even if you go back and watch some of his first summer league games, he's very vocal out there. He's a leader. He tells teams, guard the pick and roll. Get the guy in the backdoor cut. He's a very vocal leader, and I think he's a guy that you should build around. You should keep. I wouldn't even entertain. Like if Cleveland said we'll give you Jarett Allen for Jalen Duren and Bojan, I'm like no. Like I'm hanging up the phone immediately.
Well, I don't want to trade Jalen Duren. I'm going to make that very clear. I don't want to get rid of him yet. I'm just saying, I just don't know if he will be on that level defensively. I hope he is. And I've talked about it before. He has definitely showed some flashes. I've talked about his defense positively on this podcast, especially around when we were doing our summer league reactions. It's just, I think when you have the opportunity to, I don't even know if this rumor is true. I don't know if the Pistons are showing any interest in Jarett Allen. But if you have a chance to get a 25-year-old, thank you for correcting me on that, a 25-year-old center that is a one-time All-Star. I don't know if he'll make any more of that, but that's not really important. But he has shown the defensive chops to be an all-defensive member. And I believe Cleveland, they were a top 10 defensive team last year, right? With him in the middle?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure,
okay.
But
and if you have a chance to add that guy and, again, not giving up Duren, you might have to take a chance and just say, hey, let's see if they can make it work, even if it is just for 2 or 3 years while this team grows. Because even if it is just 2 or 3 years, Jalen Duren will be 21 or 22. But, he could definitely learn something from a Jarett Allen because I don't know who he's learning defense from on this team anyway. Because it's certainly not Wiseman or Bagley. But if you could bring in a veteran like Jarett Allen and show him the ropes for a couple seasons, I don't know. Might be kind of cool.
Yeah, it's just the contract with me. I'm not willing to commit because he signed a 5-year, $100 million contract. And $20 million right now in the open market for a center like him is a steal.
Yeah.
You have to remember, Cade Cunningham's extension is going to be coming up very soon.